Hi, my name is Genevieve Douglas, and I'm here at the Littler Executive Employer Conference. Welcome to our news desk. With me, I have two Littler attorneys. I have Nancy Delogu, who's a shareholder, and Dale Deitchler, who is also a shareholder. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. So today, I wanted to talk about kind of how addiction is playing out in the workplace. And we're at a time when addiction is almost ever present. And it's changing how employers approach this issue. So Dale, give me a brief picture of the landscape as it looks today.
A brief 60,000-foot picture of the landscape is that addiction is pervasive in the U.S. If you look at stats from any metric, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration said there's millions of people who have used substances within the last month. Statistics showing high percentages of those people are in the workplace. So you have addicts as employers in the workplace, and you may or may not know it. And so first, last, and always, the best approach to management is just to manage performance and behavior. Don't guess, don't speculate. Enforce your policies and your behavior standards, and that's the starting place.
And is that seems it's a team effort. It's HR, it's leadership, it's supervisors. How does that look in practice in the workplace?
Well, I agree with that, and it's risk management, safety as well. So every one of those buckets within an organization has a business interest, and sometimes the safety folks, their concerns outweigh HR or some of the business people, especially if the work is safety sensitive. It's not a free pass to just scrutinize or microscope people in safety sensitive positions, but that's a particular area of focus when you're dealing with substance abuse and workplace addiction. Yeah.
So Nancy, what does discipline look like, since you have to toe that line and find a balance to be in compliance with a lot of different statutes? What does discipline look like for employers?
There are so many, but an employer can always take adverse action based on performance or behavior rules. And so if someone is an alcoholic, they can be held to the same standard of performance that a non-alcoholic worker would be, and similarly to behavior. So if your policy says, please don't come to work impaired by alcohol, and you enforce that policy against people who maybe just overindulged the night before and alcoholics alike, then that's not discrimination.
Okay.
So the ADA and the various state laws allow people to be disciplined based on their performance and their behavior. That said, when someone's got a substance abuse issue, there are often concerns, as Dale just referenced, about bringing them back to work and can they work safely, and what are next steps for employers if we decide not to actually terminate someone. Where do we go next?
And so that, I guess, leads me to my next question, which I've written about recovery-friendly workplaces. And there was an initiative from the governor of New Hampshire, and that seems to be kind of at the forefront of states attempting to address this issue in a way. Where do you see the tide going on kind of this more compassionate approach, some might say, or enforcement and other types of ways that employers can deal with this?
Well, people can start out by saying, if you need help, please come forward and let us know, and you can go and get treatment. Under the Family and Medical Leave Act, the person may be entitled to leave, whether a block of leave or intermittent leave. I think on the one hand, you want to make sure that they can return to work when they're able to be sober and work safely, but they may be entitled to accommodations. And then, so I think more employers, given the number of addicts as was just referenced, and the really, it's opioids, it's marijuana, it's alcohol, it's methamphetamine. People, who have struggled with issues in the past can become really productive members of the workforce, and we want to do that. And so I think you've really got to balance the discipline and the performance expectations with building this recovery-friendly workplace. And that can be policies that encourage people to self-report. It can be support groups that you allow people to meet and discuss if they're in recovery. The Department of Labor is considering additional grants to employers to help them create recovery-friendly workplaces, and the New Hampshire program you referenced is a great example of that. I do think we're going to see more of that because we just can't afford to lose valuable members of the workforce.
Certainly. And Dale, I just wanted to spend this last minute that we have left on, what are you getting the most calls about? Where do employers, where does their knowledge lie in what's coming down to them?
Well, a lot of employers are not terribly sophisticated about these issues, including clients that I would ordinarily expect to have a more thoughtful approach. So I had a client with an employee who relapsed.
Okay.
But had not violated any policies or procedures, and the executives in within the client said, "We've got to put him under a last chance agreement." But he had not violated any of the client's policies or procedures, and so that was an issue. So there really is a continuing need for education at all levels of every organization, so that you understand that there's performance and behavior, but there's also support. And how can we support someone who hasn't violated our policies, but they're a valuable employee, we want to retain them, and we want to support them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for joining me. I really enjoyed our discussion.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for watching.